Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, professors, doctors, brothers and sisters for joining our session today. And Alhamdulillah, today we have one volunteer from CFS. I'm really honored and humbled that Brother Shamsuddin is volunteered to share his experience using the how to craft the e-learning using the quizzes. To add the barakah to our session as usual, let's start with Al-Fatihah. Okay. All right. So again, Jazakumullah khair, Brother Shamsuddin. And unfortunately today I will not be able to be with you for the entire sessions. And Alhamdulillah, again, we also have one volunteer from engineering, my teacher actually, to co-host with me, Dr. Ma'an. From this point onwards, the host will be Dr. Man, and I really encourage everyone to participate later on during the question and answer session. The session is broadcast in YouTube, so you are more than welcome to copy the link. Maybe some of you see the YouTube link up on the top. You can share the link with any of your friends, so just in case we reach the maximum capacity, which is 300 people per session. Just in case anyone still would want to join, but they couldn't. So you are more than welcome to share the YouTube link with any of your colleagues. So I have passed the host the host privilege to Dr. Ma'an and also for Brother Shamsuddin. So Brother Shamsuddin, are you ready?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, so again, Brother Shamsuddin, Jazakumullah khair. Thank you so much. I hope everything goes well. And as I said earlier, this session is available in YouTube. So maybe later on, the question might come from this session from this Zoom account, this Zoom session, as well as from the YouTube account. Okay, so hope everything goes well. All the best, everyone. And I look forward to watch the recording session later on. Jazakumullah khair. And Dr. Ma'an, are you there as well?
Yes, I'm here, Dr. Mira.
Okay, Jazakumullah khair, Sheikh. I really appreciate. Thank you so much. Really appreciate.
Enjoy your meeting.
Enjoy. Something I look forward to. Okay, thank you so much. All right, all the best.
Okay.
Assalamualaikum.
Salam. Okay, the floor is yours, Brother Shams.
All right, thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ramadan Kareem, everyone. I hope that everyone is already settled with the attendance. I'll give about a few seconds for those who have not recorded their attendance yet to use the QR code for the attendance. This is only for IUM staff, yeah? All right, if that's that, then I will continue, inshallah, bismillah. So let me share my screen. All right. Okay, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Can I? Okay. Okay, thank you, Dr. Ma'an. Thank you, Dr. Mira as well. Thank you everyone for coming. This is basically a session, not particularly to highlight on the technicalities of quizzes. However, is to actually share some few ideas, ideas on how to actually use this in different setting. So the title for today is Quadruple Learning with Quizizz. So my name is Shamsuddin Abdullah. I'm from the Center for Foundation Studies. Now, first I recommend us to empty your glass participate in activities. There will be 3 activities in total. Questions in the middle. In the middle will be hard because I'm viewing my slides right now. So hopefully we will settle questions during the Q&A session. And then, and when not in use, please mute your mic, or Dr. Ma'an will be there to be the Spider-Man and mute everyone else. Yeah. Right. Now, first activity. We'll start away with the first activity. I know that. So I would like you to open your browser and then put in the URL joinmyquiz.com. I've already prepared one quizzes for you for this activity 1. So the code is, just enter the code 019319 and then have a play. And for the later YouTube recording viewers, you may also play this as well because this code will be on until the end of this month. So I'll give about one minute for you to do this. Okay, let us see our result. Okay, let's look at our report. It's a very short, okay, 105 already played. Alhamdulillah, how many got correct? Now, let's look at the question. What I'm interested in basically the poll. Okay, so almost 48% said that they have not conducted a quizzes game before, while 30% have conducted quizzes before, so that's good. All right, so I just want to have a gauge of experience before I actually know what kind of elaborations that I need to do. The perfect tool without weakness, yeah? Okay, that's very, I do not know, quizzes might be happy about that. The fourth option is actually not really wrong. I'm quite surprised that 2 of you actually answer the square of 3 is 6. But it's okay. Right, I wanted to demonstrate something. Okay, so while you're at it, so let's continue again. Now, okay, so if you actually notice, I've used this as a tool, Quizizz, as a tool to actually, how do I say, gauge prior learning ataupun prior knowledge before a lesson, basically. Yeah? So it is going to help me now that I know that 48% to 50% actually have not used quizzes before. So I might lengthen my elaboration on the basics of quizzes here. Right. Now, so hopefully after this,
Brother Shamsuddin, your sound is, I think your internet connection is not stable at this moment.
Features of quizzes and plan to use quizzes in instruction, right? Now, a quick tour. So the what and the how. But, oh, okay, wait. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Right, hopefully.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Now, if let's say I was talking alone just now, so just let me have a recap here. Oh, okay, right. According to that survey just now, uh, let's look again the updated one. Oh, 74%, okay, have said that they have not used quizzes before. So it's okay, it's good. It's good that, you know, this session hopefully is going to motivate you to use it. So now, so just now was a demonstration on how I use quizzes to gauge students' prior learning, which can actually be used to determine whether you need to elaborate a certain part here. So now I know, based on the survey, I need to elaborate more on this quick tour on what and how. Right now, so a quick tour. So open your browser and then just type quizizz.com. So this is a quick tour because I believe that, you know, so long as you just have the name, you just Google, and then the rest would be easy. So the first step, if you want to create a quiz, just create here, create new quiz. And then name your quiz, let's say Psych 1, because I'm teaching psychology. And I put social study, and then I put next. Okay, so now you have gone through the place whereby it's a quiz editor. So right now, for those who have used quizzes before, let me tell you that there's an update recently for quizzes, in which quizzes is used to be known as testing or making assessment, multiple choice and checkbox only. But now they've added fill in the blanks, a poll, like how you engage just now in the activity, and an open-ended question even, yeah? Right, so you can just click, let's say you want to do a multiple choice question, just click multiple choice question, and then you type in the question here. Okay, it's a very easy question here, and then answer 1, okay, answer 2, and then that's it. Okay, and then just click save, and there you go. You have, oh sorry, okay, I need to click on the right answer, and then just click save. So it's very simple, inshallah. Okay, so you have built one quiz with one question. Of course, it's recommended to have about 15 to 20 questions per quiz, depending on your content. And then you can just continue add the types of question below, and then just click on done. Okay, once you have done this, you're just setting here university level, let's say, and then this one you need to set. Okay, if you want your quiz to be open to the public, then you can set it to public. If not, then just put it as private. Okay, and then you click save, and there you go. Within few seconds, within even a minute, you have already created one quiz. Okay, and then you can start to play already. Okay, so there are several options that you can actually do, but I will only focus on the basic one first because this is not a technical aspect of session. So you can just simply opt to play live. So I open play live, just play classic, and then there's some few settings here you can read on your own, and then just simply click continue. Okay, while it is loading, there are several, how do I say this, modes that you can actually pick. So now that you have generated this code, so your next task is basically to just share this code to your students, and student will just, even the full instruction is here. You can just snap this and then give straight away to your student. And then student will enter this code, enter this URL, enter this code, they will join. And later on, you will see student's name here when they join, and you can click start. So live game ataupun classic game basically means that you are doing it on a specific time, right? So there are other modes that you can also do, right? Such as assign homework, meaning to say that if I were to put in a simpler word, play live is basically synchronous, assign homework is asynchronous, right? So you can assign homework, and this method is actually good if you worry about certain students having limited bandwidth or internet accessibility. So you may set, you know, this quiz to be completed within a certain date. The limit is about 2 weeks actually, and then a certain time, and then you click continue. And then again, the same procedure, you just give the code, right? So basically that's a quick tour of quizzes on how to do it, right? So there's a lot of simple tutorials. In fact, you don't even need tutorial that much actually, because it's very simple, right? Now, so that's a quick tour. of what it is. So it is actually an engagement tool to help you to conduct formative assessment for your students to know how well are they following your lectures or lesson. Right. So the how there I already demonstrated that. Okay. So far, do I see any question? Should I elaborate more or what?
Brother Shamsuddin, can I
Yes.
ask a question?
Yes, please.
Okay, what's the difference between this and Kahoot?
Right. Okay. I will have my next table is actually a comparison between Quizizz and Kahoot. Thank you for predicting my my future slides. Yeah. Right. Thank you for the question. We will go into that, inshallah. Thank you for the question. Right. So if that's the case, then I'll move on first because they'll just stop me anytime. Yeah. Now a comparison. Okay. The why here, a comparison. So answering the question here. So I've even compared 4 different similar application, right? To help you do that. So the most popular one would be Kahoot. Kahoot is the biggest brother, okay, among the 4 of these siblings here. Quizizz is a new one, and then some of you might heard of Quizlet Live and Gymkit. Gymkit also I heard quite recently as well here. Now, Quizizz. Okay, so to answer the question just now, so what is the difference between Quizizz and Kahoot? I can conclude with one sentence, the core difference. The core difference is Kahoot, the question is shown in the teacher's screen, while in the student's devices, there are only answer options, right? Okay, so but Quizizz, on the other hand, both the question and the answer are in the student's device. So that is a core difference between Quizizz and Kahoot, right? It doesn't mean that Quizizz is better than Kahoot, no, right? So I recommend that you know each and every one of the features and know when to use it. All right. So I would like to say that Kahoot would be better used if your purpose is to engage more between students within a physical class. Then you would use Kahoot better. Because why? It is a shared experience there. One of the pros of Kahoot is there's a shared experience there, meaning to say that you do question by question together at the same time. Right. However, considering our situation right now with COVID and having to do e-learning method or what there, I don't think Kahoot is very practical. Okay, in this situation there, whereby you cannot be in a physical class, right? So you need to actually move on to Quizizz. Hence, that's the reason why I wanted to promote Quizizz here. Though I'm not getting any paid for what, but because Quizizz is student-based. Number one, both question and answer is in the student's device. Therefore, it is not reliant on the teacher's screen there. So I mean to say that it can be done remotely. Right. A few other differences here you can see here. Kahoot, the pros, there are many ready to use Kahoots. The same goes to Quizizz as well. There are many ready to use Quizizz as well. One unique feature of Kahoot that Quizizz don't have is a ghost mode. Ghost mode is whereby you can actually, how do I say, challenge yourself. So let's say you play one time, right? And then you score a certain marks, and then you want to try again. You want to best your marks, previous marks there. So you play again there, and then upon answering each question, you can actually know how well you do better than your previous set. So this is ghost mode that Kahoot have, that Quizizz don't have. However, Quizizz have other forms of fun elements such as power-ups and memes, right? So for those who just answered the survey just now, the mathematical question just now, yeah, if you actually notice that there's a right or wrong question. For those who answer wrong, you might see my customized meme of a wrong answer. Okay. On the other hand, for majority of you who answer correctly, you will see a fun meme saying "you the man" or "woman." Right. So those are among the fun elements that sometimes it's nice to see students smiling when they're actually learning. Right. Okay. So and Quizizz, one of the advantages that Quizizz can actually there's almost no limit to how long the question can be. Okay. They only automatically will adjust the font size. Okay, so but I know that Kahoot there's about limit of 75 characters per question, right? But Quizizz almost no limit actually, in order to form the question there. So this is one advantage here. But be careful. Of course, you don't want to paste like 2, 3, 4 paragraphs within the question. Then you might make your students squint really, okay, using a magnifying glass to actually just look at the question because the font is going to be very, very small. right? All right, but then again, that's the flexibility that Quizizz actually provide. Okay, Quizizz also enable you to put audio, images, and as well as equation as well. The reason why I suddenly ask you what's the square of 3 is to show you that it can also accommodate putting of mathematical equations as well, right? So because I'm not teaching mathematics, so square is probably the only mathematical equation that I know how to use, right? But if you can actually explore that on your own, okay, you can actually do a lot of complex mathematical equations as well, right? So those are among the advantages of using Quizizz as compared to Kahoot, right? But Kahoot, there's also a different way of asking. For example, the one that Quizizz don't have is that Kahoot have this type of question whereby you can reorder stuff. Let's say you want to ask, what is the process of making a cake, let's say. And then, okay, you can order 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that will be the answer there. But Quizizz don't have this yet, right? But Quizizz just recently have an update. They're expanding and expanding further, right? So the few cons here are Quizizz, low shared experience as compared to Kahoot, right? However, the advantage is that it is student based. One of the big pros of Quizizz is that it is student based. What does it mean by this is that each student would have different learning abilities, and therefore each student might, a certain weak student might need to take a few more seconds to answer several questions there. However, Kahoot, everyone is doing it at the same time. So, it is not really, it's not really conducive for students who are weaker in that sense here. So this is good about Quizizz that is individualized, is student-based, student can take their time doing it, right? Okay, but then again, you don't have that element of sharing, discussing together at the same time like Kahoot do. So that's why I said that it depends on situation. So current COVID situation right now, I think it's more practical that we know that physical classroom is impossible. So therefore, Quizizz is much more preferred than Kahoot. Okay, and the cons is that the question types are still in expansion, is still in progress. Earlier this year, they've just expanded to polls, right? Open-ended question and fill in the blanks, whereby previously it's only limited to multiple choice question, right? Okay, and
Dr.
then
Shams,
Kahoot, yes.
may I request some of the participants are asking you to slow down a little bit so they can just catch up with your points, if you don't mind.
Right, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right, so, okay, I repeat slowly. To answer the question, Kahoot, the main difference between Kahoot and Quizizz is that Kahoot is shared experience while Quizizz is student-based. Okay, Kahoot is shared experience, meaning to say that every student will take the question at the same time. They will go to question 1 together, and then question 2 together, and then question 3 together, right? Okay, however, Quizizz, each students may have their own pace. Few good students might finish earlier than other students who need more time in answering the question. So there is one main difference there, and don't worry, I will, all these slides will be accessible in YouTube Live, recorded, as well as being shared later on. Okay, so for this slide, that's the main part that I want to highlight on, because Kahoot is one of the most used tool as well here. Quizlet Live and GymKit, you may Google on your own because we have other agendas right now. Okay, so the next slide, please tell me again if I am going too fast. Yeah, thank you. Right, activity number 2. Okay, so enough of me talking. So open again that link just now, join my quiz, and then enter the code 332239. And then do that little quiz I've prepared for you.
Maybe you can have a look at some of the questions that some participants have.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's look at our answers here. Okay. So these are the current results. If you can actually notice now, different people will have a different pace of answering the question. I would also like you to notice I have used different types of question to actually use in this activity. The first one is an MCQ. The second one is a checkbox.
Dr. Shams, can we have the quiz
Yes.
code again? Could we have the quiz code again?
Yes.
Sorry.
Okay. Wait, yeah, no problem. Okay. 332239. I'll put in the Zoom chat, yeah? How do I do that? Okay, let me refresh again. Very interesting answers, yeah? Tit. Lupa lah. Miss this part. It's okay, this is feedback for me. Okay, many of you have done this. Oh, not yet, eh? I'll wait for another 1 minute, 30 seconds. Question 4 is purposely done hard for a certain reason later on. Please don't be demotivated if you get it wrong, don't worry. Okay, let me refresh again one more time.
Dr. Sham,
Yes.
is there an avenue for us to tell the students, if we are the teacher, for us to tell the students what the correct answers are?
Yes, there is an avenue to actually tell. I will show you how to do it. Thank you for question.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Okay, let me refresh one last time. So that when I explain, everyone can hear. Okay, so majority would have already played this. Now, in response to the question posed just now, thank you for the question, by the way. Here's a demonstration straight away. So I open Quizizz. Okay, so the question is there an avenue to actually tell the students whether their answers are correct or not? So let's say I just play one of my own quizzes here, let's say Psych 1. Okay, and then I play live ataupun assign homework. It doesn't matter, anyone there. So there's an option. Okay, here, look at here. So there's an option whereby you can actually choose show answers post game. So in this case, I purposely, usually I will set to questions only because I want students to try and try and try again until they got all the correct answer. It gets them to be curious, okay? And slightly, a low level of frustration to get the correct answer. But if let's say within the first try, you want straight away the student get the answer, then you may set to on here, okay? Show answer post game. So you may set M to on. And there is a purpose actually, especially when you do this in class, whereby you cannot afford to have extra time on students replaying it again and again because you need to continue your lecture, right? So you might want to set this, right? Okay, you might want to set this. But usually what I do is basically set question only. Even though they get it wrong during the class there, I will then later set it to homework and then they will figure out until they get the correct answer, right? Okay, but if let's say time is of the essence, you may set it to on here. So I hope that answers the question there, yeah? All right, thank you for asking. Now, so let's look at the feedback here right now. So I know, alhamdulillah, so just now, even though I was very fast there, majority of you actually got the correct answer, okay, which is one of the main difference between Quizizz and Kahoot. Okay, and alhamdulillah, for this one also, you have acknowledged the features. Okay, so now we have, achieved one of the learning outcome that we mentioned just now, among the main features of Quizizz. And then this one I did not cover, so don't blame yourself. Okay, don't blame yourself whether you missed that or not because I did not cover, but it's in the table. Gym Kit, one of the speciality of Gym Kit is that it is actually created by students, right? Because they are they like games. Okay, so Gym Kit is inspired by students who like games, so they created a very gaming element there. So one of the core criteria of Gym Kit is that people who play Gym Kit would have ability to collect in-game money, and then they may buy upgrades. Okay, so it's just like a RPG game, role-playing game. So there's an element there. So this is a special Gym Kit there. You can Google Gym Kit and then you'll find out that. And then the fourth question is aimed, to be difficult because this just to allow a created. Okay, so let us look at this. For those who are wondering, what is actually the answer? Which one of these are true about Quizizz? You can, number one, play live or assign as a homework, right? Okay, so this one is correct, yes. Plan who you want to be in a group, in a team game. The answer is actually no. Right? So when you set to a team game, you are not allowed to be in a team. Be in a team whereby you want to plan. That means to say that you want to group certain student with certain group, that ability is not available. So what will happen is basically that Quizizz will randomly put students in certain groups basically. Right? Okay. Now, the third one is practice quizzes in the form of flip cards. So if for those who are fan of Quizlet, for example, or flip card applications, there is an option for you to play quizzes using flip card. Right? Okay, and then number four, Quizizz can be used as a high-stake examination tool independently. The answer is definitely no. Okay, I don't recommend to use Quizizz for a high-stake examination. For example, final examination that costs about 40%, for example. That one I really don't recommend. I would recommend that you use Quizizz for formative assessment, particularly to improve your instruction, but not for high-stake examination due to security purposes or reasons, basically. And then you are allowed to import questions from an Excel file. The answer is yes. Right? So if let's say you don't have any kind of internet, sorry?
For quiz actually, we can arrange our student in a group actually. I've tried it before.
Okay. Yes.
When we
how do you do that? Yes.
Okay, when we set a team game, student will go in team randomly.
All right.
But then we can rearrange that.
How do you do that?
Just drag and drop student's name.
Oh, okay. Alhamdulillah. Okay, now I've discovered something. I did not know that can be done. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay.
Okay.
So now, all right. Okay. So you can actually drop them. So initially it is randomly assigned first, and then you can drag and drop there. So good. Okay. So alhamdulillah. So one of my point here is that a few later on I will share with you that. So sometimes you do quizzes and questions are wrong there. Students can actually challenge. Also, this answer is actually wrong. Okay. So thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. So these are among the features of Quizizz here. Now let's continue. Right. In the spirit of that, now you have gone through. Wait there. Sorry. Okay, now you're going through activities. Okay, so I hope that you have been exposed to multiple types of question. If you notice, there was a poll question. right? There was a polling question, there was fill in the blank question, there was MCQ question with one answer, there is objective question with multiple answers. So there are many types of question basically that you can actually use Quizizz for. Now, a bit of inspiration, a bit here, thought on that. Learning is not the product of teaching, but learning is the product of activities of learners. So just now was to tell me that my rate was a bit fast. Alhamdulillah. Another way of knowing whether you are really getting your attention or not is through the answer just now. So just now I know that many answered wrongly for the question that asked you Jim Kit there. Right, so now I know that, oh, I forgot to I forgot to cover that part there. So that's the reason why many got it wrong there. So based on activities of learners that you actually know learning happens or not. Okay, just because you gave a lecture doesn't mean that students are learning fully. Actually, they are partly learning here. Right, so our main content here, which is quadruple learning, okay, in the context of Gartner's 9 event of instruction. Yeah. Now, so this is Gartner's 9 events of instruction, the theory here, whereby he outlined the 9 events within an instruction. From gaining attention, you begin with gaining attention here, right? To inform learners the objective, right? Like what I did just now, hopefully you are able to identify features of Quizizz, for example, and then engage in recalling of prior learning, because we want to, our educational philosophy is, to add the application of constructivism approach. That means students, they build up knowledge based on what they have, and then you present the content, provide guidance, and then do a practice. Here's practice here, and then provide feedback, assess performance, and then enhance retention and transfer of job. So this one, I believe that every lecturer should know this. Okay, should know this. Now, so I'm going to use this theory to put quizzes at different locations of these 9 events. So the first one is, like how I demonstrated just now with the first activity, is that quizzes can be used to elicit prior learning of students, so that you will know what kind of information that you need to spend more time with, knowing that students are at which level. So this is one way to use quizzes at the point of assessing prior learning. Right, now second place is practice. Okay, this one many lecturers would actually know, okay, is to use quizzes for practice, meaning to say that, let's say you have 3 sub-chapters within a class and you have covered one sub-chapter already. Okay, have a little bit of recalling of information, ataupun test them whether they are following or not, whether you should be moving on to the next sub-chapter or not by doing a quizzes during the practice as a practice method, right? Okay, a bit of experience here. Once here during a practice session, in my experience, an outspoken student said loudly while in the class, this one is a physical class, he said loudly a friend's name using a power-up that worked as a virus to all the other students. Meaning to say that, remember previously I said that one of the advantages of Kahoot as compared to Quizizz is that Kahoot has a shared element, meaning to say that there's a lot of interaction within the physical classroom, whereby Quizizz, usually the normal episode when you conduct quizzes in a class is that usually class will be quiet. Like quiet, people are busy looking at their phone. It's an awkward moment for a while. But because now quizzes have created a feature called power up, meaning to say that upon answering several questions, they will receive a certain power up randomly. For example, this particular power up that I'm talking about in this episode of my experience is one student received a power up whereby it sent virus to all the other players. So meaning to say that when this student, one particular student, sent this power up, played, had their screen froze for a while, okay, as if they're being hacked for a while. So they were, so yeah, and then I saw one student just smiling there, right? So that creates, a lively looking at their phone in the class there. So this is a good way to encourage. Now, the third event, okay, in the 9 event of instruction is to provide
Dr. Shams,
feedback.
I'm sorry to interrupt, tapi you punya sound,
So
your
you can
sound.
actually show, okay, the report. Yes.
Dr. Sham, you punya sound is breaking up.
Hello. Now.
Now okay, but intermittently your sound will break up and then lag. Yeah.
Okay, right. How about practice? Have I covered that clearly?
I think you need to repeat the last few things that you
Right, okay,
mentioned
thank
just
you.
now.
It's okay. Right, so it's okay. Thank you for the feedback. Okay, so the last one would be practice. So I repeat slowly. Quizzes can be done in a practice event, meaning to say that upon covering a certain concept or a certain subtopic, I recommend that a quizzes session should be done after that before continuing to the next chapter. This is to help you determine whether you should go to the next chapter safely or not. So this is my previous point just now, and I shared, an example that I faced in my class. But it's okay. It was a long example and elaboration. You can actually just listen it in YouTube later on. Yeah, right now. So the third event is provide feedback. So at this event of provide feedback, quizzes can be used to provide feedback on two people, namely the student and yourself as a teacher, right? So just now, I've also demonstrated how I use the result just now to determine whether I should go to repeat again a certain point, or to, to repeat again a certain concept, or that is a feedback from the student. That means I tell you, oh, many got this wrong. So what made you got this wrong? This is the answer. So quizzes can also be done on that when you share the screen and then you show the report, right? However, the report screen, okay, can only be emailed to the parents by individual. There's no like macam holistic class report is only available for the teachers, right? So I hope that my voice is not breaking up, right? Now, so my experience, so alhamdulillah, so I've already prepared one slide telling you that I've went through one episode, few episodes actually, whereby when we review the answer, students actually challenge the answer given by me. So like just now, like for example, so that's good. There's a good learning episode whereby students actually think about what are they going through, and teachers can be wrong. Okay, teachers can be wrong, and this is a learning moment for the teachers as well as the student as well. So you now know that students are being critical when they engage in the assessments being done with them. Right. Now, the last event, okay, the fourth event in Gagner's 9 events of instruction is quizzes can also be used to enhance retention and the transfer of job. Okay, like or transfer, homework. So this is particularly the homework function. So this is particularly the homework function. So when you set quizzes to the homework function, you are helping them to enhance retention after the session has been done. Okay, now, once upon a time, a student asked if there's quizzes that they can play. So sometimes, I forgot to do a certain quizzes for a certain topic. Student actually asked, right? So it was that, engaging. Okay, it was that engaging. The student wants, okay, quizzes to be done on certain topics there for them to revise. Okay, student also asked if they can share the codes to their friends. Okay, to their friends who are not in my class, for example. So you can see how eager they are in the learning process there. So that makes a teacher happy actually, when you see students engage and be happy to share, knowing that they are useful. Okay. So these are extra points. So just now I've covered if my voice breaking out just now. The first event was prior learning. quizzes can be used to engage or elicit prior learning of students. And then quizzes can be used to provide practice after coverage of a certain topic. Quizzes can also be used to provide feedback upon what kind of questions students got it wrong or right. And then quizzes can also be used to enhance retention after the actual session has been done. So that is a recap of what my point here. Right. Now, so these are few ideas, few ideas, my experience, my experimentation of using quizzes. Okay, so there are 6 ideas here that I would like to share with you on how to use quizzes creatively. Number 1 is use with Zoom or Google Meet or any synchronous meeting apps. Like right now that we are doing, I give codes, okay, show the screen there, give codes there as an activity. So instead of a full 1 hour lecture and then Q&A, you may have insert few activities in the middle of the synchronous session. That is one there. The second idea is to check learning after assigning videos to watch. For example, for those who have gone through the previous training, okay, with Dr. Fadila, if I'm not mistaken, who covered flip teaching, as well as flip teaching, whereby you assign certain materials or video. Quizzes can also be used for students to check whether they have benefited from the video or materials or not. So instead of asking them, have you read or not? Have you read or not? Yes or no, that doesn't really reflect whether students really capture the content that you intend for them to capture, right? So assigning quizzes after a certain video can also help them to know whether they are on the right track or not. This second function is also similar with the function of our previous session, whereby Dr. Almira, if I'm not mistaken, have covered the use of Edpuzzle. Okay, so it's similar with Edpuzzle. Let's say Edpuzzle, okay, you don't want to use Edpuzzle, for example, you may use quizzes as well for the same function. Now, the third idea is to integrate with Google Classroom. So there is a function whereby you can actually put link or codes in the Google Classroom there. Let me demonstrate to you one. So let's say this is the quizzes, and then I say continue. So I said leave, you see here. So there's a button called share a link, and then you see here, even the icon is a Google Classroom icon there. You can just simply click on this, and then provided that you have logged in to your Google Classroom account, so you may just simply click your Google Classroom here, and then it will auto load the classes that you have in your Google Classroom. All right, so you see here, I have 2 classes on basic psychology here. You can just put it here, okay, in the classes there. And the student just open up Google Classroom and they just click it from there and straight away play it. Not even need to put in the codes here. So there are integrations of it that we can utilize to our benefits. Okay, so that is the third creative way you can use quizzes. The fourth one is, and this is my favorite, I'm a fan of scavenger hunt, okay, and I make it a point whereby every semester there must be one scavenger hunt at least per semester, yeah, right? So you can, once I did this, I used quizzes, okay, and I created a scavenger hunt. In a scavenger hunt is basically whereby you design questions to be in several checkpoints where students have to answer it correctly to move into other checkpoint and to finish the race. So basically it's a race to complete tasks at different points here. So what do I mean here by as a part of scavenger hunt? Here, I mean that, what I did last time was that at the beginning, before they set out and go to class, they go to other checkpoints outside the class, the first checkpoint is in the class. So I said to them, okay, so to pass the first checkpoint before you go to the next checkpoint, answer these quizzes and score a certain point before you are allowed to move on to the next checkpoint. So that can be one. Okay, so quizzes can be part of a scavenger hunt, right? But now I'm figuring out, due to the COVID-19 situation here, because we cannot have physical classroom. So I'm exploring electronic scavenger hunt probably. Yeah, hopefully, pray for me if I can get that idea. Now the fifth idea is crowdsourcing. Okay, so crowdsourcing, if let's say there is difficulty whereby there's too many, I'm teaching a lot of subjects, okay, there's too many content to be covered, it's very tiring to do all the quizzes yourself. Crowdsourcing is either you can crowdsource among other lecturers, okay, so you gather all the questions from other lecturers and build one quiz and then share together, or even you can crowdsource with students. Okay, so there's this YouTube link here. Okay, YouTube link here. You can just type it later. During your free time later, it will show you how you can make students. You gather questions from students, and you're the one who is compiler of this question, and then you post it as a game here, right? So in case you don't have enough time to do every section or what, why not one chapter? You allow students to formulate that. And sometimes students learn not just by answering, but students also learn from making questions as well. Okay, now moving towards more extreme than that from crowdsourcing is the reverse quiz. Okay, so reverse quiz is basically students build fully their own quizzes. Okay, so why not? Okay, we actually ask students to actually build their own quizzes, because why students are allowed to have their own accounts in Quizizz and create their own quizzes and their codes and their questions here. Okay, so there could be an activity whereby you assign students for a certain chapter, right? So you ask them to build a quiz for this chapter, and then we check. Okay, allow us to play, and that could be the homework actually. Yeah. So, and my experience of doing this is that sometimes it amazes me how students understand a certain material by when they generate question, and we know that, oh, the question is actually wrong. Okay, it doesn't mean like this. Sometimes their answer might be wrong. Okay, so there's a learning moment even. Okay, there's a learning moment even by asking students to do their own quizzes as well. Okay, to synergize. Okay, what Dr. Mira Kartiwi's session as well about portfolio, for example, this could also be part of their portfolio, okay, to show their understanding or their quiz set. For example, there's one particular section whereby you ask the student to share their quiz set, okay, done on a certain topic, for example, to indicate a certain understanding of a certain topic. So these are among the 6 creative ideas of how you can use quizzes differently, right? Okay, activity number 3, the last one. Okay, hopefully the last one. Okay, now key in that code, fill up that. I'll give you 1 minute for this. Let me look at the answer. Okay, 59 have answered. Thank you. Again, this time for the third one, notice the different types of questions I'm using. This time, the first question is a full-fledged open-ended question. Okay, so let's look at the answer. Let me refresh again. Okay, so for those who have finished, you can actually look at my screen here. So some say, crowdsourcing, okay, is among the biggest option, yeah. Keep student focused, not really answering the question, but it's okay. Thank you for the answer. As a homework, quiz, prior learning, practice, all right. Yes, I agree. One of you actually, Madam Aida, yeah, said for continuous assessment, it is a good, technique, right? Oh, interesting. What's that? All right. So I'm viewing this answer to get feedback on the whether we achieve our learning outcome or not, which is to plan. I wanted to know what kind of plan would you do with quizzes in different setting and different functions, okay, of it. Okay, so Alhamdulillah, many have an idea, although few did not attempt that, but it's okay. Probably the internet connection disturbed you. All right, the third question later on lah kot our review. Okay. So quite a number of people are interested to know how to do crowdsourcing. So this may be another session, or you can just, I already foresee this, so you can just YouTube the link that I've put in my slide just now. There's a tutorial to do crowdsourcing for that, whereby you only use Google form and then just share that Google form to students. Students just put in their questions there, and automatically you can just import the Excel file and form your own quiz from the students. Okay, so this is an interesting turn of event. Thank you very much. There's quite a lot of response I did not expect.
Excuse me, Brother Sham.
Okay, now that many have already answered, I can now continue. Yes?
Can I just ask you,
Yes,
we
please.
last quiz that you gave us,
Yes,
question number 1 was like an open-ended question.
correct, yes.
If I were to ask my students explain about, well, whatever it may be, and then they've
Yes.
got a 3-sentence answer,
Yes.
how do they know what they've done is right or wrong? Because there's not, in the system, it doesn't capture what the teacher's answers is.
Yes, okay, thank you for the feedback here. So the question is, how do they know whether they get it right or wrong? So this is one of the limitation, okay, of because the computer actually does not know. In this case, like any other application that allow deal with, is that you need to manually mark this, right? There are some other applications that allow detection of certain keywords to allow to be marked correct or not. But this does not happen in Quizizz lah, because this is a new updated one, the very recent update for open-ended questions. So they're still developing. So currently, like now, unfortunately, to answer your question, Quizizz does not have the function to allow students to know whether their question is right or wrong. Okay, for open-ended question. Okay, but for fill in the blanks, there is. Like macam just now for gym kit kan. Remember for activity number 2, the question that asked about gym kit. Okay, so that is an example of a fill in the blank whereby students type and Quizizz it can mark that. So Quizizz is able to mark that. But for open-ended, because the combination is so huge, there could be virtually a lot of answers. So you need to mark on your own basically. So what will happen is basically teachers will open their report. I will show you here right now. Teachers will open their report. See, I'm viewing all these answers here. You can just simply go to players and you can just download. Okay, click here, download. It will give you an Excel file with a list of students basically. All right, so that's that. That's why I said for high stake examination purposes, it is not recommended because the system is not really stable. The features are not really there yet, right? Okay, so to answer your question, students are not able to know whether their answer is right or wrong within the quiz period. But you can later on tell the students, okay, after you digested all the answer feedback. Allahu alam. Thank you for the question. Okay, so there's a sum up here. All right. Now, so don't worry for those who cannot catch me, the voice is being, broken up. Or again, you can still go through the same procedure, the same activity, even because I'm May, right? Okay, so you can go through this again with the activities as well. Now, thank you for achieve a part of our learning outcome or not. So based on your answers just now, more than 50%, okay, and more than 50% have somehow indicated a plan to use quizzes in their instruction. So I can conclude from this limited sample of information that, we have achieved our learning outcome, alhamdulillah. Right. So to end, okay, before we continue with the Q&A session, just to remind, sometimes we can be forgetful about this. Yeah, each assessment was an opportunity for feedback and help, but not a dreadful exercise in humiliation. Sometimes when you conduct a live game, for example, there will be a scoreboard. Okay, and those students who get more wrong will be shown there as well. So we don't want to humiliate this kind of students lah, precisely. Okay, to cap off, again, for those who join later, my name is Shamsuddin Abdullah, I'm from CFS. Just to tell you a bit of something, for those who have questions outside of this session later on, just email it to me, right? So inshallah, I will, hopefully, I will be able to entertain every question, inshallah. Now, I want to talk a bit, share with you a bit about this, okay? So I'm a Quizizz certified game changer. So this is the badge given by the company Quizizz here. It's not much of a big deal actually, but this is a company's way of appreciating for the teachers who use quizzes a lot. Okay, so if you use quizzes a lot, you have a company will send you an email to take a certain test, a series of 3 tests, okay, which you can redo it many times until you ace it. After fulfilling these 3 tests, they will award you with this picture, okay, Quizizz certified game changer here, which is the reason I say it's not a big deal is because I can just simply give this picture to anyone, okay, there's no tracing or what, but I think it's good that Quizizz is appreciating teachers who are using quizzes here. Right, so something for you to look forward to if you are interested to use quizzes a lot, right? So I end this session, okay, alhamdulillah, and if there's any question, feel free to share with me. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam, thank you very much, Brother Shams, for your very interesting, very informative session. There are a few questions that I managed to collect from the group chat. One of the questions is about whether the students can go through the questions before they submit.
Sorry, can you repeat again the question?
Can the students go through the questions before they submit?
Can the student go through the question before they submit? Unfortunately,
no.
no.
One by one.
Yeah, they have to go one by one, unfortunately, yes. So if you play live game and you play homework, okay, so yes, they have to go through one by one basically, right? However, if let's say you want to have that option of, sometimes when they take a test, students want to go through, they want to look at the 3rd question first before they answer the 2nd question, for example, you have that effect. If you print the quiz, you have the ability to actually print the quiz. Okay, I'll share with you here. Now you can open my quizzes. Okay, I share with you one quiz here, and then you can have the ability to print the quiz. So when you print the quiz, all the questions will appear. Here. Okay, so you see, you open your quiz there. There's an option called print. So let's look together. So here, see, this is the format of printing. Hello?
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, right. So yes. So if let's say you want that effect of students able to look at other questions first before they commit, then you may opt for this one. Okay, the printed version one, but not during the play game. Okay, thank you. Hope that answers the question.
And the second one is whether we can we track the marks for each student, and can we export the marks like in Google form? You can export the list of the marks.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's very interesting one. I've never tried that because I use it more informatively. Let's explore that. Okay, let's look at the report here. Okay, now it shows a report. Let's say there's right or wrong answer in here, right? Okay, now look at the question. Let's download this. So you can actually download and it will give you an Excel file. See, look at here. These are all the open-ended question, but there's also total marks for this. But mind you, the marks is the mark system in Quizizz lah. Basically, I'm not sure if it is suitable to actually translate that marks into real carry marks or not. Because why? Marks can be different due to in Quizizz system, the quicker the student answer and the correct answer, and the quicker it is, the more marks they will receive. Okay, so I believe that we don't really want to test how quick they answer correctly, but we want to test how, you know, how correctly they answer. Okay, but you can count on this. You see here, there's this number of correct responses. You can look at by student here. See each student. I see how many scores here, and then you can see. So this is just all the only data. So the answer is yes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. One more about the open-ended questions. Is there any limit for the characters the students can enter, or they can just type as many as they
Okay. Thank you for the question. So, like I said just now, for teachers, there is almost no limit when you form the question. But I believe that the question is about students, right? So,
Yes.
for open-ended question, like you answered just now, there's a limit of 1,000 characters. 1,000 characters. Okay, so there's a limit of 1,000 characters, but they will receive a warning if they achieve 800 character. Thank you for asking.
Another question, I'm not sure whether you're familiar, but any difference, what's the difference between the quizzes and quizzes on iTalim?
Okay, quizzes and quizzes in iTalim. I don't use quiz in iTalim, so I'm sorry, I'm unable to answer this question. Thank you for asking.
All right. Well, this is the question I managed to collect from the group chat. Let me ask again if there's any one still have questions on your mind you want to ask Brother Shams before we end the session?
All right. So I asked. So here's the thing. So I don't understand, Dr. Man. Dr. Man, can
Yes.
you hear me? Okay.
No, I'm asking if there's any questions from the participants here,
Okay,
the
right.
audience. If there is no further questions, how to make questions from Excel file?
Oh, how to make access from Excel file? Okay, let me show you. Go to quizzes. And then when you create a quiz, and then put the, let's say, test, create a quiz. So when you are at this page here, so you are allowed to do, this is called here, import from spreadsheet. Okay, now if you don't know what kind of spreadsheet here, when you open import from spreadsheet, Quizizz will provide you a template for you to just fill it in and then you just import later on. Don't worry about it. The template is already there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Can't see any other question here. All right. On the YouTube session, could you please upload? Okay, this is on YouTube. All right, so I think since we have no more questions, let me thank you, Brother Shams, Jazakallah khair, for this very good session. And I can see that many people are
Thank you very much for all the participants
in trying quizzes. This is another platform. Like Dr. Mira said before, there are many platforms. It's good that we just try to explore them and see which one is more suitable for our teaching and learning sessions. Again, thank you again, Brother Shams, and
Thank you.
thank you to everyone who has joined the session. And let's end this session with the recitation of Surah Al-Asr and Tasbih.
Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.